Here's a recipe on how to make bread with leavening for the Feast of Weeks or just for the Sabbath. Before you start, make sure your counter is clean and your hands are clean as well. So yeah, here we have 2 tablespoons of sugar. That's the first thing you're gonna add to your bowl. And then we're gonna have 1 cup of boiling water. If it's not boiling, it's fine. It could be very hot though. And mix it up to make sure that it's warm to touch. This is the best way I test it. Make sure the water is not too hot. Yeah, you add your yeast. And basically, you have to wait about 5 to 10 minutes to activate your yeast. And this is what it looks like. And then at the very, very end, when you'll know that your yeast is ready, all activated, is when you see a foam. So sometimes it looks like this, and then after a few minutes, it starts to foam like this. This is when you know that it is ready. Now we add the oil, milk, and salt. Now we add the flour. Add the flour gradually because sometimes 4 cups may not really be necessary. You may need a little bit less than 4 cups. So what I do is I add 2 cups at a time. And then the last 2 cups, I would add 1 cup at a time. So you gradually mix it in. Here I'm adding my last cup of flour. Remember, you may not need the full cup. And sometimes you just have to use your hands. Well, using your hands is the best thing at the end. I don't use mixers, I just use my hands. I think that's the best way to make bread, the old-fashioned way. And yeah, you just gotta practice and feel for it. It's like almost like making dumplings, you know when it's ready. Some people like their dough a little bit softer, but it depends on what kind of bread you're making also. But for this type of bread that I'm making, you don't want it to stick at all on the bowl. But you don't want it too dry as well. So when you put too much flour, it tends to get too dry. And sometimes when you make it a little bit too dry, you can add a little bit more oil. So here I'm just kneading it, feeling the dough and making sure that it's not too dry. And you could see that the flour is picking up into the dough and the bowl is getting drier and drier. And you just keep mixing it in, keep kneading it, until the bowl is kind of dry. So here you can see that the dough is ready, and the bowl is dry, and I'm not gonna add any more flour because it's gonna be too dry. So as I said, gradually adding the ingredients is best, especially the flour. Now I'm adding a tiny bit of oil because I feel like it's a tiny bit too dry, you know. So yeah, that's how I make bread. Now I'm gonna let the dough sit. You could use whatever container you like, but as long as it's covered, it is very necessary. You can use saran wrap. It's up to you. Allow the dough to rise for about half an hour, depending on how warm your kitchen is. Add a little flour to your countertop. Now, after about an hour, when the dough has risen in a airtight container, so here I separate them into two. Best to use a knife to cut it evenly, and you know, makes your life a little bit easier. So for this type of bread, I am forming them into two balls, and then I am going to cut them into three. So take your time doing this. You know, me, I could just eyeball it sometimes, and even if it's not exactly even, it's okay. It's just dough, it's just bread. And a lot of times what I end up doing is forming my little balls, and I noticed that one is probably too small, and all I do is just, you know, add a little bit more dough to it to make it a little bit even. But even if it's not that even, that's fine. My son used to measure. He had a scale and he measured, but I'm the old-fashioned type of cook, so maybe someday I'll have a scale and just, you know, measure, make sure that all of them are exactly the same, but they don't have to be. So yeah, that's what I was trying to do. I cut a little bit, and I added a little bit more. So now I'm gonna roll them with my hands on the counter, or you could use a cutting board if it's big enough. I sometimes do that. Just keep rolling with your hands, roll and roll until, you know, it just keeps stretching. That's also part of kneading. And so I'm gonna have 3 of those. Here's the second one. Stretches, and take your time. If this is the first time you're making bread, take your time, be patient with yourself. I've been doing this for a long time, so it's easy for me. And I remember when I first started it, you know, I was kind of slow at it and didn't have the results that I do have now. So be patient and just practice, and the more you practice, the better you get at it. So sometimes you have to keep kneading over and over again until you get the results that you're looking for. So now I'm getting ready to put them together, and I'm gonna braid them. So yeah, you can see how I just make it into one, and then I start braiding. Don't make it too loose and don't make it too tight. And keep braiding. Sorry, I can't allow you to see the full length. Next time I'll have a better view. I'll make sure you guys have a better view of it. So yeah, and then the end, it's being redone, and then we'll make a circle with it, tucking it in around, and then tuck the other end on the other side. So here we have our braid again. This is the second dough that was braided, and now I'm tucking it in, making a little circle, making it round, tucking it in from each end. And here we have two of them. They don't usually come out exactly the same, but that's good enough for me. As you are getting the dough ready, you can add a little bit of oil, and you cover it with some plastic wrap, saran wrap, and just for maybe half an hour. It all depends on how warm your house is. The longer you leave it, the more it will rise. You gotta be patient with bread. It takes a long time to prepare, but yeah, that's how it is. Make sure your oven is preheated to 350 degrees. So yeah, at the end, after it's baked, I just put a little bit of butter on top. And yeah, it could be all vegan, or it could be non-vegan. Take your time to stop the video to read these important instructions, please. Thanks for watching, and let me know if you have any questions. Please leave a comment, please subscribe, and please share. Thank you.